Right. I'd like to introduce Dee from England, and Dee has multiple sclerosis. Welcome, Dee.
Hello.
Could you tell us when you first started getting MS symptoms?
1997, just after my son was born, my 15-year-old son.
Mm-hmm. And how old were you at the time?
I'd be 27.
Right. I don't know if I asked you that, but anyway, have you told me that? Anyway, never mind. Simon likes it when I give him little jobs to do to edit these things out.
Yeah.
Okay. So what were your first symptoms?
I started with optic neuritis, and it was a very mild attack. Mm-hmm. So obviously went back to normal and didn't suspect a thing. And I was meant to go to the eye clinic, and I think I just dismissed it because it went away. And as usual, you're a busy mum, you carry on with life. And so until the second symptom was again optic neuritis, but it came back quite severe. But it didn't come back till 2 years later. But it was, after a stressful period in my life, so it came back with a vengeance, as it does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, when you actually diagnosed?
2000. You never forget the dates. They all stay in your head. It was after I think I had 2 MRI scans to compare. I had one after that severe optic neuritis attack, and I had various other symptoms, numbness in my feet, and then I had another MRI scan, and then they did all the other tests, the visual, is it the visual
evoke potential tests?
That's, yeah,
yep.
I had all those tests done. Had an X-ray for some bizarres and blood tests, and then obviously I was summoned to see the neurologist, who told me I had quite a benign form of MS, because it was only quite sensory, she'd seen it at the time.
Yes.
But from diagnosis, it was quite a horrible time, because you're left alone. Nobody really understands MS, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. And then this nurse came to see me, which always stays in my mind. She was an MS nurse, and she was called, I don't think I should give names, but she walked into my home, and I was just decorating at the time, and she was so horrible and unbelievably cold, and told me, you can stop that, what you're doing right now, you've got MS. And it'll never ever leave me, that, because I was stunned. I've been 30, so, I was a busy mum, and she was so horrible and matter of fact. There was no sympathy enough. I know they see that every day, but you're a new case, and you should be treated with so much more compassion, because again, your life's about to change, isn't it? Your life takes on a whole different.
So how did that affect you mentally?
It was awful. I think I have this great way of me. I'm terrible. I block things out, and I blocked it out, but I did become quite depressed. But I didn't actually talk to anybody about it. I didn't know. There was nobody really to talk to. Yeah. I think I've just over the 10 years that I've had MS, I've got stronger and stronger mentally. But I think I've got ways of coping. I think everybody does. You devise your own little ways of getting through the horrible times.
But I think initially, when it's all scary, it's unknown, you don't know what's going to happen, and you feel so isolated and so on your own.
I was, very. I mean, I started having oxygen therapy, and I used to go down there, and the people there were, I can't fault them, they were so supportive. All the lovely people that would have MS, they are the support that you need, even though they've all, got varying kind of degrees of MS, and they're all suffering in their own ways. They're such strong people. And I just remember going down there, and they were the only ones that offered me the support that I needed. Not the nurses, not the doctors, nobody. It was the people with the MS are the best people to help you through it. There are obviously the odd negative person that will drag you, can really bring you down, if you let them. But I never did. I looked, there was some, like I said, there were some fantastic people offering me some brilliant advice. And then I got hold of the New Pathways book. That changed my life.
Right. Yeah.
That really did, because in there I started to read. I don't know what year it was, but in the New Pathways, started to see a bit on LDN, and that and I ignored it, which I wish I never did, because I just remember it was new, and I think it was Dr. Lawrence, wasn't Bob Lawrence?
Yeah, that's right.
That was having his write-up about how the LDN had affected him and what was happening. And when I used to read it, I used to think, oh, that's not for me. I don't know why. I just wish I started it so much sooner. It's bizarre, isn't it?
So when did you start?
So, that's how, from that point of New Pathways, it really did kind of change my life, I suppose, because through my darker days, you kind of, because I started to get worse when Daniel was born, my little boy. So I think I got in touch with you, Linda, and I can remember not being able to walk quite properly because I felt like I had two bands around my legs at the top. And I just remember walking, really feeling so awkward about my walking. And, I mean, my walking's not brilliant now. I trip up a lot still, but I think that's just, I mean, LDN does prop you up a little bit, but there's still things sort of happening, that you can't, I think there's the damage has been done from previous times. I don't know.
So when did you start LDN?
I'd say, what are we now? What was Daniel? 2007. So Daniel was born 2007. I'm just trying to work out. It's 2008. I started LDN, and I did see improvements. I mean, in energy, in my everyday, everyday life. I suppose the things that I can do that I couldn't do. I used to find myself sitting down a lot more, whereas I do still get tired naturally. But my days were more fulfilled. And I'm not saying it cured me, because I think I've kind of suspect, because I've been in touch with Dr. Bob Lawrence about, and had quite a nasty do back in August of last year. I don't know why, and he reckons it was probably, I was overdoing it. I can honestly say I was overdoing it. I think LDN it gives you so much energy, I suppose, and you kind of forget. I didn't forget I had MS, I never do, but I think I did just too much, and I burnt out, to be fair, and then I got quite a nasty. I won't say it was a relapse. I just got probably a bit of a virus and a bit of being ran down, and then my MS flared up, because it always does, doesn't it, when you get poorly? That's right. So it put me to bed, really, and my legs started to drag, which was quite frightening, because I always had problems with my left leg, but it's never dragged. But I can honestly say that the relapse, or whatever it was lasted 2 weeks, whereas I suppose it could have been a lot longer hadn't I had my LDN. And I also looked on Bob Lawrence's website, and he was saying, where it says don't go down the road of your steroids, look to all the antitoxins and, go down that route, and the berries, and I followed all the advice, and I just believe that all that, the alternative way of doing it is a lot better than the, going down the steroid route.
So how are you now? Did you recover from that?
I did. I'm not perfect. Still, like I say, I trip up, but it depends on it sounds mad, but it depends on the shoes. It's only, like I say, my left leg that's quite bad, but it does depend on what shoes I'm wearing. If the sandals and I have got a slight foot drop. I know I have, but I have recovered, and I am back to being me again, but just slightly a bit worse. But that that comes and goes again. It's tiredness, becoming hormone related. It all gets. I have become so in tune with my body. It's unbelievable. 10 years, but again, I was back at the hospital, a routine neurologist appointment, and I seen the registrar, and he was just. I mentioned LDN to him. He didn't have a clue. I loved it because he was so cocky and full of himself, and giving me all the, why didn't I come in for steroids when I had this? I said, I don't want steroids. Why? I said, this, it's my choice. And I don't think he actually believes me that, that I was quite poorly. And he kind of laughed at me. I think he thought I was trying to put it on the record for some reason. other. He just doubted me. I don't know. And then because I refused the steroids, I said, I don't want the steroids. I'll take them if I need them. I'd have to be really bad. And then he said, oh, so what if you get left with a bad left leg? They're just horrible. They're just they're not in tune with what people go through. So I can't remember my story. I've got a bit of a short memory sometimes.
Did you have any introductory side effects when you started?
I did. Just a little bit of. All I can say is I started on a very low dose, 1.5, I think, and I was over in Port. I was due to go on to a holiday with my husband, so I just remember freaking out and feeling like everybody. When I've read up on what people, they I felt apprehensive, but really. All I had was the weird dream, the weird dreams, and when you close your eyes, you can see strange patterns and strange things coming at you. That's all, and I still get that some days, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't frighten me and apart from that, no, nothing. Just probably, I went a little bit higher, and I went on to 2.5. I was fine on 2.5, which I'm stuck at. If I try and go up to 3, I got really bad nausea, really bad. So I dropped that down to 2.5. But now I alternate and I take 2.5 to 3, depending on if I feel I need it. So and I'm okay now. I don't get the nausea, but I can't get above 3 because I think I am quite sensitive to medicine. I don't know. Maybe I've just, I'm not. But the only thing is taking LDN at the same time. I then got diagnosed with an underactive thyroid, but I've read there's a link somewhere. Am I right? Or am I wrong?
Well,
about you?
Some people take LDN for thyroid problems, and it helps with that. Right.
Because I'm on about 100, but I was getting. It was just after my son had been born, and obviously. The only thing with MS is it can actually trick you to believe that everything's down to MS.
Yes.
So the symptoms I was getting with the with the low thyroid function, I was actually suffering with. Obviously, I didn't know, and I ignored it again. So, but LDN has changed my life. I believe it has. I just believe that I do a lot more, and I think it's stirred off a lot of maybe If I look back now at how I was, even when I first got diagnosed, some of my days were quite bad, actually. I was quite shaky, what I call shaky. There was a feeling of feeling quite shaky inside. And as if all my nerves were rattling.
Yes.
So I don't obviously get that unless I've got to be extremely, extremely stressed or tired to actually get that down. So that's, when you look back, you can see a difference.
So what would you say to other people who are contemplating taking LDN but probably a little bit wary?
Not to be frightened of it, because it doesn't, there's nothing to be frightened of. I wish now I'd have taken it when I first read about it, and that was before I had, I'm talking about, what was it? It would have been in year 2002, so going back that far. I wish I'd looked into it then. I don't know, something, don't ever ignore it, just give it a go. You've got nothing to lose. It's true, you have got more to gain. And I wish now I'd have been taking it a lot sooner into my, when I got diagnosed. And I wish there was more information, because sometimes when I sit in neurology, department, I'm desperate to say to people, have you ever tried LDN? Because I don't think it's there's enough information. I know, because it's not being treated. It's not. They'll say it's not being tested for MS, so therefore they can't obviously promote it. But it's just a shame that there's people out there with MS, and because I try to spread the word when I'm out and about. I got talking to a lady bizarrely in a shoe shop one day, and she works there, and I was telling her about my MS, and she said, "Oh, a friend's got it." So I gave her all the details about LDN, and I told her to pass it over. And then my best friend Debbie, she's got MS. She started on LDN a couple of years ago, and she was actually put on beta interferon And I met her one day, and she was really bad on butyrophone. She couldn't walk far. She had to keep sitting down. Her leg was dragging behind her. She started on LDN. She came off her interferon, and I seen a complete change in her.
Mm.
So
that's good. Yes.
It's good when I'm not, it's like everything. It's not a cure. But it does get you through the days that you need it to get.
That's
otherwise,
right.
I don't know what would happen. I don't, honestly. So, but I mean, I'm 100% behind it, and I believe in it, and I will love to pass the word on, and I do. And if I'm talking to somebody, like I say, I try and spread the word a little bit.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story and spreading the word.
Yeah, definitely.
And good luck to you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks,
okay.
Linda.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.